We have a quorum, and so this meeting is called to order. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Municipal Facilities Optimization Committee meeting of August 26, 2024. And first item on the agenda is to review and act on the minutes of August 12th, 2024. Any questions or concerns with the minutes?
None.
None. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes of August 12th, 2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I'll abstain, because I wasn't here.
Okay. Opposed? So voted.
And we need to roll call it because I'm on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right. We need to roll call. Thank you,
All right.
Beth. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Myself, aye. Steve?
Aye.
Keith?
Abstain?
Abstention. Mike?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
That would be 4-0 with one abstention. Thank you. Item number 3, review and act to approve bills and schedules, bills and warrants. We have none this month, so we can bypass that. Which brings us to item number 4, update from Lane Carl Architects. Greg, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So what we've done is, well, I'll let you go to the next slide, Mike. So what we've done is over the past week and a half or so, we've met with all the user groups, and we're now doing our second round. We've met with everybody except for water and sewer, which is scheduled tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and we'll go over the program with them. The good news is we got about 98% of the program right the first pass, and we're just tweaking some of the things, so no major items were left off of the program. And so far, all the managers appear to be, satisfied with what they're getting. I'm not gonna use the word happy or anything, but I mean, they're satisfied with what they're getting. And I've heard nothing, contrary or negative to it or anything. So we're pretty much finalized the program now, which I think we sent you the draft copy of what it is. You've seen the renderings, we've prepared the renderings for this. We're also, the draft report, which again, I told everybody, it was put out very quickly. Not saying we've, done all the grammar checks and everything else on it, so we are working with that. And then obviously tonight's meeting, to go over the status of where we're at. The borings, we've been released to do the borings. We are working with the geotech now to get the borings done, so we can have that information. We will have to work on finalizing approving the final concept and everything so that we can price that, which then will go into preparing the cost estimate, packaging this all up so that we can show up again on the 4th of September with a complete package so that you all can review it, and then if we need to make any tweaks and everything. Next slide. So just to kind of go over quickly, this is the highlights of the program. These numbers have been adjusted slightly. I'm anticipating that they're going to be adjusted slightly, a little more as we go over with water and sewer. But basically what we've done is try to count the fleet vehicles, as we've been described. Also the personnel that you see here include the future personnel as well for the layout. Next one. We've been through this, we showed you this at the last meeting. Obviously you can read it, the existing building. The good news is you see in red, we did get the wetlands determination, at least preliminary, from the town engineer. That area that we were concerned about is not a wetlands. So that was good news. We'll still have to go through the entire, stormwater drainage calculations and everything. The below ground tanks are 30 years old, they're fiberglass. The pumps that you see there are probably about 10 years old. When we do the layout and everything, and you've seen the site plan, we would encourage you to and recommend that you replace the tanks at this point in time and go with above ground. I know you guys invested, 10 years ago on the pumps and everything, but I think overall for the site and the project and everything, it makes sense at this point in time to upgrade the fuel island. And then obviously we'll organize that. Salt shed we're not touching. These are just the basic things you already know about that. The existing building is structurally sound, however, it cannot take solar panels or anything else on the roof, but overall it's in good shape. And we are going to propose that we leave the skin on that building, and while it does not have the greatest insulation and everything, just to keep it in budget and everything, we're recommending that you just leave the veneer, clean it, repoint it as necessary and everything. Obviously, we'll replace the roof with an insulated metal panel, as well as we're still reviewing what we're gonna do with those, translucent panels, whether they'll be glass panels or a combination thereof. Next, Mike. Architecturally, kind of basically here, there's missing some things for accessibility, it's worn, so on and so forth, but those will all be upgraded when the renovations occur next. Fire protection, obviously, we will be working on that, as well as plumbing, and again, those are just coordination things, time on task with those, next. HVAC, clearly there's a lack of ventilation in the building, so that will all be upgraded. And then the electrical, I know there was a concern at the last meeting about whether we can keep the existing building online. Speaking with the electrical engineer, the generator was added after the fact, so it's fed from that part of the building, but the main power coming into the building is a kind of a direct shot off the, so it should not be impacted when we put the addition on. We'll find out once we actually get into the, the ground and everything, but that is the anticipation that that will go fine. Next slide. You're familiar with the sites, I don't really need to say much about that. So last meeting that we had, this was basically the layout. You're gonna see that the layout has not changed substantially as far as the orientation and everything. However, what you'll notice is we've squeezed this in and made this a little narrow, a little shorter. But the other thing, next slide, Mike. The key thing is, this is highlighted in gold, which also coincides with the other plan. That was the proposed new vehicle fleet repair garage, okay? Due to the budget or the anticipated budget and everything that we've had discussions with Keith on and stuff, we were asked to reduce the building by about 8,000 square feet. So essentially what we've done is we've taken this component, and you'll see put it over here back where the existing garage, which saves a substantial amount of money. We're not relocating those 3 lifts, we're working that. Joel seemed to be very happy with where he was, he just needed some additional things, so we will get into that. Mike? Okay, so the new plan, as I said, looks pretty much the same as before. However, what we did do is we did pick up parking all along here. That's about 13 spaces along here. So whether you park fleet or personnel that park and work in highway or something, that works out. Same thing, public comes in, goes out, you can put a gate there. This is the proposed new entrance for the fleets, and then everybody can move around. The other thing too you'll notice is, based on the discussions with all the groups, and we have not talked to water and sewer, but I'm going to assume they're going to say the same thing. We are proposing a 20 to 24 vehicle canopy out there, okay? And so we will be working through that. And then, as I said, the big thing will be renovating and expanding the fleet. Next one. So, so how does it, is there the next one? Did I put them in the wrong order? Can you go, is the color one next? Or? Nope, I must have put 2 of the same thing. All right, so let's go back.
You want the color one? Hold on.
If you have it, I guess. There it is, okay. So, layout is pretty much the same. Water, sewer in the blue. Red is administrative. This kind of lavender salmon color is highway. Gold is garage and parks. One of the concerns, working through with parks and everything is, obviously they have needs and we didn't want to reduce their space. While we do encroach in their space a little, essentially they're only losing this 1 bay of space because they currently don't have that little garage bay, which they have picked up. One of the things that Keith had suggested, and we talked to Kevin about, which he was very happy with, is that he can queue up trailers already hitched to their trucks and everything and move right through there. While we do show racking along this side, Kevin had suggested that maybe they don't put the rack in there so that they can park 2 pickup trucks side by side, because he's saying that basically that's all the racking he needs. Again, this will just be discussed further during design and everything, because potentially if they do put racking here, and when I'm talking rack, I'm talking the warehouse racking, 4 feet deep, 8 feet wide, they could potentially store mowers and stuff in that racking on a seasonal basis, so that they want. The other thing too, which Parks was very happy with, Highway was happy, everybody seemed to be very happy with. We're also proposing a door here, so that they can access the garage this way, as well as we're putting in 2 additional doors in the back. Highways and Parks was thrilled that they are connected now. They don't have that little alcove area, or what they call the alcove. Parks was excited now that they could at least wash their mowers, because now they literally just roll in here. This little line right there is just a curtain, you know, so, and so they can obviously put their equipment in accordingly. So Mike, I guess, well, you guys are good with this, or I can go to a black and white plan, I don't know what's, you're fine with
Yeah,
it?
that's
Okay.
Yeah.
So, one of the things right now is, there's some brine tanks in highways area. They need 3 brine tanks, 2 are newish, one of them is old, and so, Nick had asked us if we could replace one of those brine tanks. There's the brine machine, he likes it in that position because a front end loader can move in, dump the, you know, salt and everything that he needs in there, so he asked us to keep that. We put the, this area back here is a little notch in the building. We are gonna just extend the roof over so it becomes a canopied area, with walkways, obviously for egress, and yes, we'll be putting up the proper bollards or guards or whatever to protect the brine tank. But this does give you potentially additional area to park trailers, trucks and everything else as well as that. And then up here will be the vehicle canopy for the other 20 vehicles and everything. Employees will either come in through here, from his employee parking, or if they're parking along here, they'll come in through this entrance. They can go to their locker rooms, go to the break room. Obviously, they can pass the, back through there. We are proposing a second floor above the break room, which is a meeting room with funny seats in it, as we like to say. Then, like I said, men's locker room, women's locker room. The administrative space, again, this will be the main lobby. That will be segregated from the rest of the space, so somebody will have to allow you into the administrative area, so the public will be limited to just to the lobby. Not that we anticipate any issues with it, you guys, you know, it's just that it's something we do suggest that you do in today's environment and everything. One of the things that they'd ask is, rather than bringing people around, is if we could get a door very close to the conference room, so that if there were a meeting or something, the public basically comes through here, goes right into the conference room, and they really don't have to move in and out of there. The biggest change you'll see from the other plan is the offices have tightened up. Keith and I had a discussion on the standards for the office, about 100 to 110 square feet per standard office, and with the 6x6 cubicles. I think the most interesting is when we talked to the business group, they had, you know, included a few more personnel and everything. So what we've done is we've increased the number of cubicles in there, not only by size, but we did manage to get an extra row in there. So you should have more than enough cubicles, whether they work as hotel cubicles, because there's some people said that they come in like cemetery, the woman that works down in cemeteries, while she's primarily down at the cemetery, she does come in, I guess, once a week or something to do paperwork. So she could have one of those cubicles as a hotel, or you can make a series of hotel if there's a special project or something like that. We do need to talk about these 3 offices. They are extra, you know, so whether they become meeting rooms, whether they, you know, those are details that we will definitely have to work out. The other thing we picked up as a space is this next to the work copy room. If you remember last time it was just along the corridor, now it's there. We're anticipating that that may be a very good room for the engineering department, because there was some discussions if they put the techs in and everything with their plotters. So those are spaces that just have to be better defined, better worked out as we go through the process. Water and sewer basically stays the same. They have all of their needs met and everything. But essentially, by putting fleet here, we've reduced the space by about 8,000 square feet, and that translates into a substantial amount of dollars on the project. All right, Mike, next. We're going back to the renderings.
back.
Can you just go back any slide
Sure.
with the layout? Where did the existing building end?
So the existing building ends right here,
Right there,
right? So that's the existing building.
okay?
So this actually works out very well, because we're actually anticipating that we're gonna structure on the new side, keep the new structure about, 8 to 10 feet away, cantilever over, because it's not a heavy load or anything,
Right.
so that we can solve a lot of those technical problems and working through that.
Greg, I have a question
Yes.
on the layout. So as the layout sits right now with the canopied area and back for the vehicles,
Yes,
is there now room to house all of the fleet vehicles undercover? Maybe not in the house.
with the canopy back in the
Yeah.
back, yes,
Okay, so that other parking area that you indicated where you picked up spots.
Go up my.
You had indicated that there may be fleet vehicles parked there.
Yeah, and so what I mean by that, and this, we had this discussion this afternoon, is if somebody's pulling in quickly, needs to, they could park there. It's really how you wanna
Okay,
discuss.
that wouldn't be an overnight parking situation.
Not unless you needed it, but you don't need it for the primary vehicles.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
And when I say that fleet vehicles, because a lot of the times I'm looking, like Water and Sewer has a sizable number of pickup trucks.
Mhm.
Could they park outside? Sure. Do they want them outside? No, but I mean, they could technically park out. And there's some that, what we tried to make sure is all the expensive equipment or critical equipment and stuff was all undercover and everything. So, but yes, in theory, everybody should be able to park undercover now.
Okay.
The engineering division has 4 or 5 vehicles that are parked here,
Mhm.
so they would be parked there and they can stay outside.
Right, right. I didn't know if, were those spots that we picked up, if we just needed to put a canopy over those, just to, as a safeguard, to make sure they were all housed if they needed to be.
If I did anything, I would just continue to expand this.
Okay,
It'll be more efficient and it'll be better use of the
Fine.
space.
Yep.
So the parking spaces next to the office space could be people that swing in
Yes,
the trucks, do what they need to do and then leave.
Yeah,
yes,
okay,
But at night, they would bring it back to that canopy area and park it under there.
correct.
And
okay.
you haven't sized that yet because you don't know how many cars. you
Right, and we're gonna finalize it, but we're anticipating 20 to 24 spaces under there. It's also too deep, it's tandem deep, so that
So you're gonna
a
have-
trailer could pull in.
You're gonna approach it from both sides?
You can
maybe?
approach it from both sides,
Okay.
and if you needed to put a truck with a trailer on, you could pull through. That seems to be the biggest thing, the trucks and the trailers.
Mhm.
That's why they like this, Parks did, but talking to all of the divisions, they're always in need of putting a trailer on a truck. And if that can be pre-staged or something,
Sure.
keep that up, and plus the trailers, you guys just have a lot of trailers. So.
we do.
And then obviously back here will be the spoils and stockpiles for, salt and sand and gravel and things like that. All right, next one.
I just had one question.
Yes.
Is, in the office area, is there a customer service location?
Right here. This is customer service right here.
Okay,
So I come into the door, they're very happy that they can see that. I don't go any further than that unless they open the door and let me in. And again, you guys are gonna run your operation. They wanna leave the door unlocked, they can, but it's, everybody seemed very comfortable with that arrangement. And then obviously water, and sewer will come in at this end of the door, and I'm anticipating that highway and the rest of the divisions will be coming in at that. All right, next, slide, Mike, we'll go to the renderings. All right, so, what is this gonna look like? This is a proposed rendering, and you'll see there's a couple slides of this. What we've tried to do is address the first thing that everybody asked for, and when I ask every division, what do you need for your space? First thing I heard out of their mouth was a window. Okay, didn't matter if they were highway, didn't matter if they were garage, everybody said they wanted windows. So, what we've tried to do is, if you remember the big cubicle, area right now, they get front light, but we're also proposing clear story light there so that the entire facility is lit. Next slide, Mike, you'll see. And so that's just another kind of front entrance on this. Next one. The other thing too, we're proposing back here, this is
Okay.
part of the new building that butts into the existing building. We are proposing that that will also be clear story light. So if you go back to the plan, Mike. That's right along this wall here, so that it lights that entire corridor. Okay, and then if we want to, and again, these are details we'll work through, we can also put some clear story lighting above the lockers or something, so that there's adequate light lighting this whole building. So in theory, you should not have to put the lights on during the day. And that's what we have found in the other buildings now. Okay, back to the rendering.
A question on the layout, if you could go back.
Sure.
Is there any thought about moving the offices to the inside and letting all the cubicles on the outside so they get more light? And then the offices on the inside have glass panels next to them. So that it frees up the people that are, if you put all that, that's, and again, I'm trying to eliminate the clear story. Great idea, but it costs money. I'm trying to just lower it. Any thought about that, or is there a standard, Keith, that we have
Well-
to follow? Not really?
So Mike, if you go to the rendering, so there's a couple things I would say about that, and Keith prepped me for the fact, and people always ask us on these DPWs, how much are you paying for architecture, if you can say it? Well, first of all, just because of the sheer number of people in that area, potentially there's 24 people working in that area,
Right.
okay? Getting the higher ceiling, and it's only like half a story, so it's not like we're doing a lot, that will make that space feel phenomenally more pleasant,
Oh, yeah.
you know? At that point, you know, putting the lights on and stuff, I'm not gonna throw out any numbers, because Beth is listening, and everybody says, don't discuss numbers until we have it all finalized and everything. But the point simply being that is such a small percentage of the overall cost. I would encourage you to say, we carved out, and Mike, if you go to the next thing, we have carved out as much of the volume as we can. We've also tried to minimize the number of joints, because sometimes it would be cheaper just to pull the building over or something, just because you're not building an extra joint or something. But in this case, it's a very valuable joint that we think to get that clear story lighting it. We don't need the volume over the office. You'll notice this side has a little portion there, which we'll be using potentially for mechanical areas and stuff. Next one, Mike, slide. As you can see, we cut this back flat back there to hide all the mechanical equipment and everything, because there's no reason you need to display that. So we have carved up as much of the volume that we think is realistically can be carved out of this. Next slide, Mike. And so you will see, I mean, the building literally almost has no volume in it for the size of it. But we feel that it'll feel very pleasant inside there. And so I'm going to just say at this point in time, without putting the estimate out yet, is that it's a nominal cost. You're probably only talking like less than 1% of the budget for, if I may use the term, architecture. You know.
Merely asking the question.
No, and that's a fair question, and I would expect it, and Keith, as said, that somebody may ask you about this. But as I always say, just because it's a DPW doesn't mean you have to live in a tin box, and because go back to the main rendering, the elevation line. Okay, this is where your public is coming.
Right.
And you guys have done a great job with your facilities. You maintain them. So why not give the citizens a nice place to go? It's pleasant. Everybody, but it's still very functional and practical without breaking the bank or anything on this. So we would encourage you to do that. If you told us you absolutely need to get rid of it, sure, we can get rid of it. But I think what it will do for this space is phenomenal.
I would agree.
Mhm.
It's great.
Yeah.
It really adds a lot for the people that are gonna be working in there every day. And I think it's a good way to really, they want glass, they wanna see the outside. I think it's an excellent idea.
Mhm.
It's just, I go back to my past experiences. When I look at that, I look at, okay, on the backside, I'm gonna have a snow load. Oh, I got mechanical systems. Oh, I got all the other problems, because that is higher than the building that you're building.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're aware of that, and again,
I know
one
you
of the things that we try to take pride in trying to is to conceal all the mechanical equipment, because there's nothing worse when you have a beautiful building and first thing you see is 5 air handlers sitting on the roof.
Correct.
So, plus it also works out, Mike, if you go back to the side elevation with the slide. Yeah, anyway, so we also make sure that the access to the roof is relatively easy. You've got 2 stairwells coming up here. Now you may have to take a short, like 3-foot ladder, or you might have to take a few stairs, but you can come out right here at this area and get access onto that roof, which is phenomenal as opposed to going through a roof hatch, especially if you have to work on any equipment or anything.
Or a
So
big
that
cha-
is one of the things we try to achieve as well.
Especially with the big changeout on any type of motor or any other thing
Yes.
you need to do
Yeah.
for maintenance.
And
And I notice you're showing canopies in both places.
we are, yes.
I like that, that's a good idea.
So,
Especially for the
well, this
workmen.
one kind of covers double duty.
Yep.
It also acts as a sunscreen because this is the southern side.
Right.
This one is just more greeting to the public and everything. And if people are parking along here, it just makes for a nicer little area. One of the other things we try to do with the DPWs is, depends on which DPW director I talk to, but we try to introduce some green area so it's not a sea of asphalt. But it's all very low maintenance, like you can see just some grass area, some basic trees, some shrubs along there. You'll see some of the details we'll do is like we'll lay a granite slab along the edge of the building so when they mow, they don't scrape the building and everything. And it's just basic curbing, it's not, sure, these little things add up, but they're not substantial enough to say, because what it will do to save your building is phenomenal. Because if I have say a 12-inch, 18-inch granite curb, run the lawnmower, I never even have to get close to the building. I'm not weed whacking the building, I'm not doing any of this thing. So we try to keep it practical. We know that maintenance is, you guys have enough to maintain in the town, but we also try to make it pleasant for everybody that's visiting, as well as the workers there. And that's kind of the summary. I'll address any other questions you may have.
Of course, it's all. The tank, I thought we were okay with the tank, no?
So we thought it was newer than that, so we went through our paperwork. We did learn they were put in 1993,
93.
93.
But the
so-
pump and the other items
Yeah,
are
they're
okay.
actually, yeah, well, yes, they're actually more than 10 years old because they were here when I got here.
So what's the lifespan on the pumps?
So the pumps, I'm not sure what the lifespan would be, but they say on the tanks it's 30 to 35
Right,
years.
right.
So we're there.
So we don't know whether we can reuse the
No,
pumps or
and
not,
so
or
It's
does it make
probably not
sense
double
just to-
contained either, is it?
it is double contained, but it is double contained, and we know that they're still intact. There's no issues with them.
Good.
And then I think the discussions, and I've had this discussion with our highway division manager who manages those tanks, and he would love to see an above-ground tank system as opposed to below-ground. It actually helps us out a lot with some regulations and reporting. So that's a piece. And then they're a package that shows up essentially
Yeah,
on
it's
the
the
truck.
tank, the pumps,
Yeah.
the whole
Okay.
set.
So we think, let's put it this way, if we're not doing this during this project, we'll be doing this within the next few years. So
Right.
And do you have a place to put that? I
We
didn't see
do.
it on the site plan.
Yes, it did. And when Keith says it shows up in a package, one of the jobs we did for Franklin Regional Transit Authority, Mass DOT called them up and said on June 1st, good news, we're giving you $2.5 million for your project. They go, the bad news is you have to spend it before June 30th. So what we did is we purchased the fuel tanks as a 30B, and it was all approved by the AGO's office and everything, and it was called an assembly as opposed to construction. So they very much just put a pad down, drop the tanks on. But what we're proposing is putting this little box right here.
Next
is
to the
the
salt
fuel
shed.
line. Because what this does allow you to do is, fire trucks, police stuff, pull in,
Yeah.
turn around, they go right there. They're not circumventing the site or anything like that. And that seems to be very popular with DPWs today. Get the other departments in and out as quickly as possible without having to route yourself through the entire site.
And the flow works very well for winter operations. Trucks come in at the end of the storm, they fuel up,
And go through.
empty sand, empty their salt, and then park the
Right.
truck or whatever. So.
Fuel up, get the sand, the salt, and go
Yep.
back out.
Yep.
Good. Anybody have anything else?
I just wanted to say that, I know that there's been a lot of work in the past couple weeks, appreciate that. Especially appreciate all of the staff being available for this work. Their conversations, I think Greg was still getting probably some emails today, people that thought of stuff
Mhm.
over the weekend and sent that, so that's good. And I do, I understand your questions about that, and that's why I brought it up with Greg earlier, like, I really appreciate that. I mean, there's gonna be, 24, 30 people working in that space, right? And
Great effect.
so I think, whatever it is to be welcoming for them, wanting them to come in there and work in that
Sure.
space. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and also all the hard work you put in the last couple of weeks reconfiguring everything.
Yeah.
We know that was
That was great.
a lot, but
Thank you.
necessary.
But yeah, but as Keith said, the staff has been absolutely great. They've made themselves very available, and we have not had any issues whatsoever with any of the staff. And they've been very, upfront and very helpful. And I will say that they actually are working with us. I mean, they didn't put us thing and say, I need this. Could we work? And so you guys have got a great staff that works together, so.
I did learn that Greg takes criticism very well. I did learn that.
One last question.
Yes.
Is that the existing water and sewer up there and above the park? Is that what you're
Yes,
showing?
This is right here. So the idea is, we're about 20 feet off the existing water and sewer. So the goal is that we can build
This, yeah.
new building while the existing water and sewer stays in place. What we're anticipating, and I don't want to get too far into phasing yet, once this is built, we're anticipating the highway will temporarily locate into water and sewer so that we can do that area, put the new roof on, demo what we need to do. We did design this bay so that you could take full trucks, like 10-wheelers with plows. And the reason we did that, because who knows what water and sewer vehicles are gonna be like 5 years, 10 years from now. And the last thing we want you guys to do is come back and say, hey, remember the garage we built 3 years ago? It's too small for the truck. So we're anticipating they'll temporarily move in there. Water and sewer won't be thrilled, but at least we can get the rest of the building done. Then once they move in, we demo that existing building and finish the site and everything.
And I'll ask it anyway, I'm sure I know the answer, but the vacuum truck, no problem fitting that into the new water and sewer.
That is right
Okay.
there. Mike, I don't know, can you go to the other plan? So one of the things that we've learned to do on these
Right,
buildings
to
is
the left.
we make sure that they're tandem, and we also put doors here. While you only have 2 vacs now,
Mhm.
get it? I understand that. However, water and sewer might get, one of the 6-wheelers, they may end up with a 10-wheel, who knows? So we're anticipating that they could park 2 right there as well. So we've tried to make the building as flexible as possible to configure any equipment that may or may not be coming in. As you can see, you can queue trucks up here during the evenings and stuff, or in storm events, to support the other operations, so.
Okay, and I had heard mention of one of the, it was kind of a want/need, was a dedicated oil room.
Yes,
Do
so
we have that?
over here, one of these is going to be a,
Yeah, that one there is the paint room.
yeah, so one will be a paint room, one will be a fluids room.
Okay,
Okay. And then they all have their own little shop area here. I don't know if you're familiar with the water and the sewer, but they have and they needed additional racking and stuff because they're kind of all over. One of the things that they did ask for is, if you see the big X right there, that's a decontamination room. Because what they say, sometimes they come in, they're covered, they want to just hose themselves off. Right next to it is the laundry machine, so they can do all that. But that was one of the requests that Dan did ask in his cruise.
makes sense.
And the wash bay, or is right there?
The wash bay is right here.
Yep, okay, that's what I
So,
thought.
and then there'll be a curtain there. And then, like I said, this is not a wall here. This is just a welding curtain. So, and the only reason I show it broken is because we've left a little pocket here so they can push the curtain all the way back. Most of the time, they won't have any issues, but if they are welding, they were talking about grinding as well as the visual light and stuff. They just simply pull the curtain, they do their welding, and that's where the welding machine will be. They also said that they use some portable welders that they roll around and things, but this is primarily intended as the primary welding bay.
I'm gonna point out that canopy area in the back, the one that's part of the building? Or is that?
Oh, yeah, this is this area.
Yeah. just to
So
point that out.
basically,
Yeah.
where this column line here, that's the ridge line of the existing building. So right there. So that's what we're working off of, that slope. So if you look in the back of the building, the slope will go all the way across. Here will come all the way across to here, stop, will break here, and then this one will have just the slightest little, so that we can get the clear story light to light that corridor.
That space is just covered, not conditioned, it's open to the
Right.
air,
Outside.
but fully covered,
Correct.
yeah.
And Greg, on the park side, you had mentioned that the plan you have up there shows racking,
Yes.
but that may not be what the parks wants. They may want a double wide,
Kevin said he may want to park trucks double wide. Again,
which is
it's
fine.
flexible.
My
for him.
question is, will that wall be configured where if they change their mind and they need the racking, it'd just be easy to go in and convert back and put the
Yes,
racking on?
so we're kind of bound on the existing building by the current column layout,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So we basically got you as wide a door as we can between the 2 columns. So you're not getting any wider door than that, unless we want to restructure the whole building. So can 2 pickup trucks pull in and work? Sure. So the rack in, out, doesn't really matter, it's not going to impact the layout, and it functions in both conditions.
Okay.
And it's freestanding.
Okay,
So
it is,
It's like the
okay.
Home Depot
Okay,
racks.
all right.
that you see, yeah.
All right.
I know in your last plan you had mezzanines.
Yes, and we still do. So, this gray area above parts, that's already an existing mezzanine.
Okay.
They'll use that, there's their stairs. Right now, the lodge has a little section of mezzanine. The stairs go right here, and then we've added this area, which we're going to do mezzanine. And as I told, the group this afternoon, this stair right here, you have a perfectly good stair that's going up to that mezzanine. So we're saying, for a few $1,000s, take that existing stair, reuse it, just reorient it. Now, I just happen to show it on this side. Once we sit down with Nick and everybody, they might say, well, let's put it on this side. 6 of one, half dozen of another. But the point simply being is, if it were just a wood stair, which you do have a wood stair there too, we're not not salvaging that one. But this is a perfectly good steel stair, and that will probably save about $25,000 to $30,000 by relocating it.
Oh, we like that.
There's no other mezzanines in the main new addition,
There's a mezzanine above here
right?
for water and sewer, which they'll come up the stairs or they can pick from this side. And then this is not really mezzanine, it's second floor because it's enclosed and everything, and that is a meeting room.
Okay,
So, and you keep hearing me say meeting room, and if you're wondering why, is whether you choose to sleep in there at night, you don't want to call it a bunk room because it triggers all sorts of other issues.
correct.
So it's a meeting room with funny seats.
And of course, there'll be mechanical mezzanines and all the other stuff that you gotta design and add in
Yes.
And then,
later on.
are there break areas on each side, or is it one shared break room?
So
Yeah.
this primarily it's a break area for
Yeah.
highway, water and sewer.
Yeah.
Okay, what we have done, just because Parks and them are a little further, Parks gets a little 4-person, which he were very happy with.
Yep.
And then Joel was happy because we gave him a little break room for his crew too, our fleet. And then this is 2 bathrooms, men's and women's, be all men's, all women's, depending on what they do. So that we're anticipating that fleet Parks will primarily use that, highway obviously can use it as well. But this will be the primary restrooms for both sewer and highway, and that's kind of centrally located for them.
Excellent. Beth, do you have any
Nice job.
questions?
Thank you.
Are you there, Beth?
Correct. Sorry, I was muting. I don't have any questions.
Okay, all right, thank you. I just didn't want you to feel like you were excluded. We remember you're here. All right, very good. Anything else, everybody? Thank you for the presentation. We appreciate it. All right, I guess that brings us to item number 5. Review and discuss construction manager at risk.
I have a 6-slide presentation. if
Okay.
That's the way to get there, and then I can get there. You have can I have your little connector as well? I've got a mini
Oh,
spot here.
no, it's a lightning.
Do you have that kind of connector?
I might.
I think they're called dongles, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
the technical term.
The technical.
That's just standard
I got it,
HDMI. You bought it, Steve?
Yeah, so- okay.
I'm a professional. Well, let me see if it works. Look at that.
Look at that.
How about that? All right, so station. So what this is about, so we can send a presentation mode here, if you will, is explaining for informational purposes for this meeting what Chapter 149 is and what Chapter 149A is. And Chapter 149 is a design bid build process, the law that outlines the process for the design bid build. And 149A is CM at risk. So we'll go through this. Again, we've got 6 slides, and my understanding is we'll go through this and perhaps bring this up next meeting for a vote. So what we'll do with each one is compare benefits, positives of each delivery method, ask any questions, and see what you guys may want to do, but it's really just a good informational thing. So again, I can read the screen, but we can all read it. With CM at risk, the idea with CM at risk is you hire that construction manager early in the process, and that means that CM participates, reviews, comments on, and assists with either the completion of those bid documents or makes comments and advises and makes recommendations to those bid documents before they're actually bid. In each scenario, 149 or 149A, you have the same, I'll say, file sub-bid process. File sub-bid is the name under 149, and trade bids is what it's called under 149A. But you get the same grouping of bids first, and then the general bid, if you will, comes after that. So that process is the same. It's the same trades and all that. So if you're familiar with how that works, it works the same for both. So CM comes in early, advises, and is part of that team early. Design bid build, which is basically it's the envelope opening. Again, you get the trade bids or file sub bids first, And then, say, 2 weeks after, you get that complete bid, and that is a one-number bid. Just to explain, is everyone familiar with CM at risk or have some experience with it? Because I can go as long as you want, I assure you, on how these two work.
I am.
Yeah, okay, so,
That's
Some-
nodding.
what's that, Beth's nodding too, thank you, Beth, yes, good, good.
That's naughty too.
Yeah, and this is all good stuff, and typically if you have a project with some complications, or schedule, or logistics, or sensitivity on site, CM at risk is the way to go. What CM at risk does for you, and I assure you I can argue both sides in each delivery method, because some apply better to some projects and others to others, so, or the other to others. CM at risk allows you to better control as the owner what that GMP number is, because you don't just sit there and wait for the proverbial envelope to be opened to know where you are. Whereas CM at risk, you have the trade bids that are submitted, you know where those are, you know where they were expected to be based on detailed estimates. You expected plumbing to be 400,000. Plumbing came in, well, instead of doing line by line, really you do it in the aggregates the best, because there's always ups and downs. But you know where those bids came in compared to where you thought. And then the rest of it is, okay, this is how the rest of it with your CM is gonna map out how the rest of it's gonna come together, and maybe say, we don't know how that's gonna come in, so let's just put a contingency bucket just for this item, and just for this item, and set that all up so that you arrive at that GMP number, instead of waiting for the envelope to be open and finding out if you arrive at the number. So that's kind of big picture stuff, but, design bid build, that envelope open price typically is lower, no question about it, than CM at risk initial GMP, guaranteed maximum price number. So I'll just stay with the design bid build. Competitively bid, I can speak to CM at risk, how they do that. Lump sum payment, progress payment, same thing as CM at risk. Owners typically more familiar with a design bid build, one number to go forward with. Less paperwork. Less paperwork comes in because all of those trades that are not trade bids on the CM at risk package, they present a package with a recommendation, and then they get authorized to then procure that work, like the site work package. They submit their bids, spreadsheets, all the information's all open, and if your site work package was a $1 million package, they'll provide you the, whatever, 3, 4, 5 bids that they procured, and with their recommendations to the bidder. So the paperwork part comes in. Design bid build, we don't get any of that paperwork, they just already have it, it's in their number, if it's in the plans, they own it, that's all there is to it. CM at risk, they present that paperwork, you authorize that, then they submit and go write that contract upon this group's authorization for them to do so. So that's what the paperwork part is. In terms of the pool of contractors, the bigger the project, generally you'll have more capability, and this is in the markets that we're in, to do CM at risk, the bigger the project is, because the bigger players will be able to do that. This project will be fine in either realm, based on what this project size is, and it'll be very appealing as well, in my opinion. No design phase services, we talked about that on the design bid build, because they're not on yet, we don't know who it is yet. No GMP contingency, so that means you can't build in some things that are in the GMP. You open the envelope and whatever you may set up, let's say it's a $10 million project, and you know your owner's budget with all soft costs and everything is $12 million, whatever it is, you can have whatever contingencies, and we'll go through this in detail over the next week and a half or 2 weeks to map out exactly what all those contingencies are. So you can set up whatever contingencies you want in this process as well. It's just not within the contract, which you can set up contingencies within the contract of a CM at risk GMP. The owner has little or no say as staff or subcontractors, which is true, though they have to go through the qualification process and be DCAM certified and all that. So if you feel there's value to that, then there's value to that. CM at risk side, qualifications based, you interview the team. We can get into more detail exactly how those steps work. We will, I think, on one of the next slides. Design phase, we talked about that, their involvement, it's all open book accounting. If their GMP is $10 million, and after all that work authorization that we just talked about a minute with the site work example, all those things add up and they end up spending $9.5 million, they don't keep the rest, you keep the rest. So that's what the guaranteed maximum price is. It's open book, and open book costs ultimately are what drive that final price, not whatever the contract GMP is, that's the number. So best dollars of the dollars not spent. So that's how that works with the open book accounting. Owner included in sub-selection descoping, I described that a moment ago. Early release packages, let's say we wanted to get site work or steel or something going early, or building demo of a building that's in the way, something like that, before we were ready with that GMP number. I don't think we're gonna be in that circumstance here, but that's what that is about. Holds and allowances within the GMP, I mentioned that. Larger potential forms, 4 to 6%, and again, this is our Vertex slide. John Lemieux assembles this, and we've used this basic template this season, so I didn't remember that was the 4 to 6 is what he had, which I agree. Post-construction services, everybody says they do post-construction services. But anyway, so that's a good kind of differentiation between the two. I already kind of spoke to this, design bid build, file sub bids. Within that envelope, the GC, design bid build, puts everything else, and that's that lump sum. And then you can see all the rest of it that goes into that CM at risk presentation. So we'll go on, and anyone stop me if there's any questions on this. Some projects are simple, in quotes, of course. We all know this business, we wouldn't fill rooms of people like us if projects were simple. Sometimes you can we're doing a school project right now in Situate, elementary school, $120 million, design bid build. To be clear, there are projects that seem to fit, and that does. Another project, same kind of thing, but with a lot of other circumstances, recommend the CM at risk. They're all different, and one method or the other is probably a good fit. Just like there will be here. You can see what the Inspector General's comments are on that. So post-COVID inflation, everybody knows now, and you guys probably dealt with it on this. I'm not sure exactly what the timing was of this building to get this done as it related to the COVID cost inflation. But managing those costs with the GMP, with a general contractor, his contingencies, the general contractor's contingencies are all in that bid that gets opened when the envelope opens. Whereas the contingencies and concerns and we don't know where that steel is going to go, so let's put a little contingency on that within that GMP. All that stuff can get worked into the project, kind of protecting that GMP, as I mentioned a few moments ago. So, especially with the ridiculous 2 years straight of inflation that we had, that was 15 and then 20 or something like that in this industry, that's way better than that now, but that is what happened. That was a huge issue during all that, just to try to have some idea where the costs were going to go and what projects costs, where they were actually going to come in. So this is about the CM at risk process. We have to get, in order for the project to be able to use Chapter 149A CM at risk, this committee would authorize that by vote. We would then apply to the Inspector General's office and submit this project for that use, which is just outlining all the, checking all the boxes on the form and submitting it. After that is approved, the approval or the selection process is as outlined. Qualifications based, and then a request for proposal is the next step after the review of qualifications and the selection, and to advance to that next step. And then there are 2 envelopes that get submitted after that, a price envelope and a non-price envelope. And actually those probably should be in the other order, because you evaluate the non-price, the technical approach submitted to the project, and evaluate what that looks like. And then you open the envelope for the price with the contract that you like, and see how that bid with their fee as a percentage, general conditions pricing, and contingency percentage and pre-construction fee works out. A lot of firms will put in a really, really low pre-construction fee as kind of a teaser to get them in, which is not bad. It's just a strategy that firms will use. But then in fact, though, you have to level all that and say, what is all the numbers? You have a $10,000 pre-construction fee, but you've got a 4.5% fee. So you're gonna get it one way or another, and then just make sure all the bids are leveled and everyone understands what's what there. So another part to that is to make sure any of the durations on the general conditions, to make sure all those align, because they'll do what basically they're told. If we're we're saying this is a 16-month or a 12-month, whatever we're gonna say this thing is duration, they'll carry appropriate general conditions for that duration. So you have to make sure they're all level between the numbers as well. And then you interview the project teams and see who you wanna bring in. And that is it. I'm not that good at the presentation mode, so I usually have a question slide or something like that, but, any questions?
Thanks. Thoughts, comments?
So
Go ahead.
So I'm just gonna say, just for the record, this community has had, the last 3 projects we've done have been CM at risk. This building that we're in now, the police station, Beal Elementary School, and the library, all of which of those buildings have come under the GMP, which is important to us. I mean, that is, for me, that, you know, mitigating the risk of the final number, is the way I like to think. I like the process from a project manager level, because at least in my position, or the person that would be managing it from staff, you know, they really have 3 firms that they're working with every day, and it's a team atmosphere as opposed to general bid, where it's a little bit more difficult. It's not saying that you wouldn't get an excellent contractor for a general bid, but it is a risk that you take, because you don't get the opportunity to pre-approve, if you will, who that is. So, those are my thoughts.
Let me ask you a question about our design team. Difference between the 2 designs. More detail, more cost, versus in the design bid build, or in CM, less cost, more of a team atmosphere. Is there a difference for your work?
No, because we've worked on both of them, and we will prepare the same set of documents, because even the CM, the better documents we give the CM, the better pricing he's going to get. So I can't just say, hey, here's, put some steel on here and go for it. They're gonna get all the steel joints and details, they're gonna get all the things, and so they will get full specs, full drawings, and it just helps the entire team, whether it's CM or,
But don't you in design bid build have more risk of extras, because the drawings, and I used to work for several companies that used to just take and say, this isn't a good set, we're gonna go at it, and we're gonna make it up in change orders.
yeah, so,
And that's the only reason I asked the
Yeah.
question.
no,
And I've done both.
Yeah, so, we've done enough of these DPWs, we are, fairly confident in them. You will see that on most of our jobs, and again, I can't say every job, most of our jobs where the renovations are new, we're in around the 2%, 3% contingency, change order thing. I don't count when the owner says, we're doing so well on this, let's put a new wing on the building.
Yeah, right.
That's not, but, the key on any project, and I think Vertex will agree, is as long as we can get out of the ground. Hudson, we put that out as traditional, design, bid and build, it's a $20 million job. We are out of the ground and we hit nothing. Okay, so we were very fortunate. So the only thing we're doing now is Hudson Power and Light wants us to go to 5-inch conduits rather than 4-inch, even though they told us 4 was fine. But on a $20 million job, if it's a $10,000 change order, we're doing fairly well.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with either way. We will produce the same set of documents, and we will work with the team accordingly.
Okay.
Mike?
The only question I would have, I guess it comes down to risk, on project to project. And the last 3 projects we did at CMAR, do you see this as less risky? As far as what we uncover under the ground, is there any reason you'd go to a base build, maybe be more competitive?
So I think we do get risk either way. My risk mitigation piece is really on the budget. Really make because if we have a GMP, we don't exceed it.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? I think that's the piece for me that makes the big difference. I think in the grand scheme of things, like if you compare that project to this building, the police station, it's a much less complicated project for sure. But there's still construction risk.
Do you find GMP is base build estimate bids when they come in, are they typically lower than CM at risk, or,
Well, I think the piece, the piece for me that I'm concerned about is, we won't know till we open them.
understood,
You know what I mean? Like,
Historically,
you know,
you know.
that's the part that, the way the climate's been in the past 3 to 4 years, it's, I'm very nervous. And then, like, you know, this building, for example, CM at risk, we were very fortunate with our construction manager. We knew that there was gonna be, so there was a steel issue. This building was originally designed to have all ladder joists in it. And, the contractor came like day one, when he was on, he's like, nope, you should change that to regular I-beam steel because we won't get the ladder joists for 2 years. So like, there's little pieces like that,
Oh.
that were certainly helpful, and those are the kind of the pieces that stick out in my mind. But I think more than anything for the community, like I don't wanna go back to the community for more money ever,
understood.
right? So that's where the CM at risk, I think, makes me sleep better. You know, it is a construction project, there will be change orders, you know, those are inevitable. But it just, you know, depends on the, like, to Greg's point, it's the size, right? So,
Well, to Steve's point, I know, you know, from a design and build, I know contractors that spot a change order right away, and they'll bid the job low,
yeah.
knowing they're gonna get that change order.
Mm-hmm.
So that lies in the devil's in the details, for sure.
Yep. Sure, there are people that use that as a business model.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Beth, any thoughts?
So, just echoing a little bit about what Keith said, right? The last 3 projects had such great success with construction manager at risk. My concern was that this project would be too small to do a construction manager at risk, but it sounds like it's not. And so, again, not having to go back to the community to ask for more money is always top of mind. So I mean, I think I understand that it is a little bit more expensive to go construction manager at risk, but I think that the benefit comes when a project comes in on time and under budget, and we know that we didn't have the stress of, you know, are we going to go over? Are we going to make it? These types of changes that could push the needle one way or the other. So I know we're not making a decision tonight, but I also just feel more comfortable when we go through the construction manager at risk process. So Sherwood was design, build, correct, Keith?
I believe that's correct, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Construction manager at risk may be used for any project with an estimated construction cost of 10 million or more.
Okay.
Oh, good to know.
That's good to
Is that the state requires?
Yes.
So my thoughts, I've only worked on the one building, but it was construction manager at risk. And I probably keep going back to this example, but to Keith's point about the steel, we secured the price on the steel early. And this was a COVID project, but I always compare it to the Doherty High project. And that was during COVID also. And right at the beginning of their project, they had, I don't know what the product was, it may have been steel, but they had a $30 million cost overrun, where they had to go back to the city and say, we need $30 million to finish this project. That's not a risk I want to take. So I think you're just hedging your bet here. There's a little bit more of upfront costs, but if everybody works together as they did on the other 3 projects, you're coming in under the initial bid, and we're probably back, I don't know if you're saving the full 4 to 6%, but if you're saving the 1 to 2%, and you have that peace of mind, knowing that you don't have to go back to the town, I think to me, it's a no-brainer. And again, I've only got the experience on this one building, but I keep thinking back to that $30 million Doherty went over on a $400 million project. That's a big nut. So,
I'll have to research that to find out what that was. Actually, I drove by and happened to be in the area when they had the fire there, so I saw the fire.
yes. Yeah, it wasn't related to the fire, because I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that had
yeah, 'cause it
already.
was well after.
There wasn't even,
Yeah.
foundations weren't even in the ground yet when they came up with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right,
I
right.
didn't know about that, yeah. I'll find out though.
So, all right.
I know
I just
people.
forget what the cost overrun was, but it was a big one. So those are my thoughts on that. So that, you know, I would advise everybody to think about it. At the next meeting, we'll bring it up for a vote and, vote your conscience. All right, very good. Good discussion. Thanks, Steve. All right, item number 6, review and discuss outreach. So we had the tours this past week. I was not there
Yeah, so we had
Wednesday.
2 tours, we had Wednesday night and Saturday. So Wednesday night, we had 8 people come for tours. And then, we don't have the exact count for, Saturday, but we think it's between 35 and 40. There were a significant number of town meeting members, about half the finance committee was there. So, we had a lot of good feedback from them. The staff that gave the tours, was amazing. We got
Yes.
a lot of good feedback from residents about their involvement, and, we really appreciate them taking their Wednesday evening and their half a day on Saturday to do that. But, yeah, it was good. Like, Pat and I both were there. We had a lot of conversations with a lot of those residents.
Yep, I thought it was very valuable time spent and really gave the public an understanding, those that showed up. And again, most of them being town meeting members, I think it was an important thing to do.
Yeah.
If there are other opportunities to do it, I don't know if there will be, but, as we get closer to town meeting, I think it's valuable to do. So. And then also, I did get a chance to watch the video. Thank you, Mark. I thought it came out really well. In some cases, you did such a good job and the pictures were so good. It almost made the buildings look better than they actually are. When you walk, especially the water and sewer, when you walk in, it's kind of dreary in there. But the lighting and everything that you did was phenomenal. So, but thank you for that. I thought it was very valuable, and the guys who did the tours were
Yeah.
they did a really good job with that. Anybody else have any thoughts or comments on that?
Do we need to do any more outreach? Next steps on outreach?
So we have so first of all, we need to, if everybody's happy with the video, we wanna get that out
Yes.
ASAP. And along with the letter's out, right?
Letter was emailed.
Letter was emailed to town meeting members, so we sent that letter to town meeting members also. We would like to get the video out for all residents to see. And then we have to continue with these meetings and then, look at what other outreach and notifications we'll need to be doing between now and town meeting.
Okay.
There'll certainly be weekly or bi-weekly communications to town meeting members, starting pretty soon if they haven't started already, out of Taylor's office, for all things town meeting, and so we'll be part of that. And then I think after we get through, that we can have other options for tour dates if we think that's necessary. Really like to get some feedback from the community on what they're seeing, so hopefully the video will help with that.
Yep, I think the idea of doing it on the disposal days, the composting, I think that works out well, because you get a really good turnout.
There's
A lot of people come
2
through.
weeks in October, 2 weeks in November for yard waste collection. Usually our drop-off events coincide with the weekend of those collection weeks.
Okay.
I can check with Gosha. on
Okay.
that.
That'd be good. And I just did have one question. We said the letter is going to go out to all residents or all town meeting
Went to
members?
town meeting
Went to
members.
town meeting.
That's town meeting members,
That
yeah.
did go out already.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
By email,
Okay,
yes.
yeah. If we put that anywhere else, even if it's on the website, just to personalize it a little bit.
Sign it.
Yes.
Yep.
At the end, whether it's the whole committee or just, it should have a
That's totally
signature
fine.
at the end.
Yeah, we can set that up for the next meeting, make sure.
I'll print a copy for
Yeah.
everyone, yeah.
I think I saw Beth had her hand up a second ago.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah, but I was going to say exactly what you just said, Pat, is that like it has to be signed. The letter needs to be signed, by whoever we are, right? Because nobody really
Yeah.
would know who MFOC is if we don't sign it.
Yep.
One other question. I wonder if maybe this is more than one question. I wonder if there's a way to, I don't even know, make it more readable if we're going to send it out to the whole community. Because I'm not sure that the whole community is going to read that letter. It's long. So I don't know if there's some way to have Taylor look at it, something to make it less text heavy, even if we wanted to include some pictures to kind of break it up a little bit. If we're going to send this out to a more broad network of people, town meeting members will be more likely to read it. The general public may not, and I think that's where pictures help sometimes.
Yep.
And again, we're in a situation where we don't have a campaign committee, right?
Right.
So, kind of doing our own
Yep.
informing the public of what's happening here. So we want to make sure that we make it as readable as possible for
Yeah.
people. The other thing is on the video, is there a way for Mark to put the website for the project as a bottom banner?
He's nodding his head. So yes.
Okay, great. I think that would be really good. I think that the video, the introduction is great, helpful. But again, it doesn't tell anybody who the building committee is.
Okay. Could we do that in credits? At the beginning or
I
the
think
end?
so. Yeah, I
Would
think
that- would
that's a
that be
really
good?
good. If there's some way to
Okay.
just
Do you mean literally?
list the names of the people who
Yeah.
are on the building committee,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can work with Mark on that. We
Yep.
can figure
the
something out.
credits would be fine, I think, because then it doesn't take away, or you don't have to like go back into the body of the video to kind of change it.
Okay.
How about the number, do we have the, I was thinking in 70, whenever the garage was built, 74, 76, it was X amount of streets and X amount of people in Shrewsbury. Today, there's Y amount of people and a lot more of streets and people that need to be taken care of through the DPW garage.
Yeah, so we could work with
And
the
highlight that to say,
DPW divisions, because so we would have to look at not only roadways, we would have to look at water and sewer infrastructure also.
That's what I was thinking,
Because that
water,
is
piping,
also
miles.
painful. Yeah,
Yeah.
miles of pipe, so I'm sure we could get all that information.
but the amount of expansion that's happened in this town
Yeah.
since 74, I mean, it's,
One of the things we could, maybe with that, we can, so, maybe we can put together some type of a easy to read chart, do that on our on the
Yeah,
webpage.
at a very high
that's what I'm
level.
saying.
Yeah.
A bulletin late, not with this, but
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
later on.
Yep,
You know, they get it. And maybe
Yeah.
to Beth's point, maybe we need to, it's very good if you read the whole, like I did, but
Yeah.
I'm not too sure the attention span is gonna be there
Sure.
to read the whole thing.
Yeah, I
So
think-
maybe bullets.
yeah, I think we can work, I think between Justin and I, we can work with Taylor on that, and
Yep.
then work how we can communicate that out, what the best avenue for that is with her, right?
Yeah.
And, you know,
I think that's something that's easy to visually represent, like
Yeah.
a percent increase or what have you,
or
so.
maybe we can do some little, short video like she does for her, select board selections, like after the meeting, she
Yep.
does 30-second video like that maybe can be sent out via social media or something
Yeah.
like that, something to
Connect
that
with her on
effect.
that.
Yeah. And maybe we can do a few of those with different information in each one.
Sure.
Beth, I heard you raise your hand.
Pictures.
Pictures.
Can we get pictures on the website also?
Yeah,
Yep,
I think the pictures are really what bring it home to people. If they're not going to read, at least they can look at it and see a ceiling falling down, a roof that needs repair, a break room that's overcrowded.
yeah, we
I
can,
think it.
can definitely post pictures, and we'll put the video on the webpage too, so yeah, that'll be great.
there's a slideshow function on the website, that might be a good option for that.
Oh, yeah. like
Oh.
on the-
I agree.
Automatically
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
scrolls.
that's a good idea.
Yep, real good idea.
Excellent.
And then more opportunity, like has already been said, for the general public when they start to understand that this is happening, they're going to be like, oh, well, I missed all the tours, so let's have some more tours.
Okay.
Good thoughts, everybody. I'm glad I don't have to implement all of them, because technically it's a little bit beyond me. Anything else on outreach?
I don't think so.
No? Okay, all right. Item 7, we have, next Wednesday, September 4th, scheduled for our next meeting date.
Right, the selectmen's room reserved.
May I ask a question? So,
Certainly.
what we believe we've contracted for, and just want to make sure we meet your expectations on the 4th. You've seen the assessment memo, we'll tweak that, polish that, make sure that that's all. The program you saw covered basically all the pieces. As I mentioned to Keith, we'll be happy to plug numbers next to the square footage and stuff, but one of the things that we have found over program things is trucks are trucks, you know, people are people. We believe we've given you the most efficient building.
Mhm.
If you have a desire for us to put those square footages, we will. Our bigger concern was just to make sure that we had a placeholder for everything, because whether the mechanical room is 100 square feet or 110 square feet has little or no bearing on life, because that's the size of the building and that's where the structure lays out. You're getting 110 square foot. So if you're good with the program, we'll tune that up, put that in a polished way. On the plans, we can give you the color code, we'll give you the floor plan, and we will give you a fully rendered site plan for that. And you've seen the renderings, we'll finish the renderings as well, and then we will do a cost estimate. That is what we are proposing for this package, as long as you're happy with that. We can obviously add supplemental stuff. I know that Vertex has gotten the information from the industrial hygienist. I don't know if that report's come in yet or not. I have not seen it yet, but I mean, the good news is there's no asbestos.
That's not true.
Except a little bit in the water.
18,000 so to answer your questions, good questions. We don't have the report, we have the data sampling reports, and what has come in, he is, either verbally or by email, said anticipated cost is 18,000, to which I said, great, write it up.
Okay.
So that's exactly where that is,
That's
yes.
that's in the roofing. of
Yes,
the water-
mostly in the
Water sewer
roofing.
garage.
water
Yeah,
sewer
yeah,
garage.
and caulking around the existing windows in the water sewer building, that's where it is.
We will try to get at least a preliminary on the geotech. No guarantee.
No, we
There's-
need that, we need.
I understand that, but I'm
need-
not sure it can happen between now and the 4th. I'm just telling you.
Well, I'm gonna ask Steve then. Steve, can we start getting cost estimates on the project without the geotech report?
Yeah, absolutely, everything else, we just don't know what's down there.
Okay,
We
because you
wanna
said,
know what's down.
okay, so, yeah, so
Sure,
that could
yeah.
change any numbers.
Yep.
So you're gonna assume a standard.
We're gonna assume spread footings at this
Yeah,
point in
standard
time, and if we have to go to
foundation,
deep foundations or ground improvements, based on what we saw on the geotech at the salt storage shed, there's about a 12-foot level of questionable material with organics and everything else. So potentially, I mean, 12 feet is not a horrendous amount. You can remove that and put in new fill. I don't think we'll have to go to deep foundation. It's just removing that chunk of, 12 feet. It's quite a few yards, adds up pretty quickly. So that is just something, again, we're doing everything to push that as quickly as possible. Now that we have a layout with the building, as soon as we had the last meeting, I talked to Keith, we sent that out, got the proposal been approved. It's just a matter of getting the boring rig out there. So, but in any case, that we will get, as soon as that information comes in, we will obviously send it out to the committee through
Yep.
Keith and Justin.
Sure.
So everybody will have that information. But that is the only thing that I see as potentially lagging in the presentation. Hopefully it'll be there before the 10th.
Okay.
I mean, and when I mean before the 10th is, the best news we can say is,
Ninth,
I know our meeting is the 9th.
Yeah,
But I'm saying, if I got a call on the Monday morning saying, on the 10th, not Monday morning, but the 10th, morning of the 10th, that said, oh, good, you're good virgin soil, you don't have to worry about anything, that's a real plus.
Mhm.
As opposed to getting a call saying, oh, by the way, you have 60 feet of unsuitable hazard, then that's a whole different thing. But
Right.
anyways, we are pushing that as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And then the other piece, just so everybody knows, that, HK is working on their design of their budget, and then parallel to that, Vertex is working, reviewing their budget.
Sure.
Also,
Yeah.
right, so like, there's that piece.
Right.
So it's not-
So based on what Steve said and what Greg's proposing, is everybody comfortable based on the design we have now, going forward with cost estimates for that week to look at on the 4th?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, Beth?
Yes, I'm comfortable, thank you.
Okay,
And then is the committee also comfortable with the image of the building and everything? Because that's what we'll be pricing up in general.
I was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then everybody's good with leaving the masonry on the existing building, even though it doesn't have the thermal performance of a new building, but it does save hundreds of thousands of
Mhm.
dollars.
Mhm.
Okay, great.
And what's the exterior wall on the new building?
We are going to match the existing building, but block, yes, but it's going to be thermally much
Yeah,
better. Because basically what we'll do is we'll put metal liner panels behind it, get a tight building. The
Mhm.
block is just more the rain screen and veneer to
Right.
make it look good.
Yep.
So, and we're gonna try to match that rib block as closely as possible. We're proposing a smooth stone on the front of the building. It's Aeroscraft, it's man-made stone, but it comes in standard block size and stuff. So that, and the nice thing is the building is far enough apart with this chunk in the middle, so even if the two shades of stone or block are off
Yep.
by a step or two, you're not going to see it.
Mhm. Good. Thank you. Item number 8, anybody have any other business?
Think we had any other business, right?
Nothing? Nothing? All right, very good. Item 9, motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion?
I second.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second to adjourn. We have to do this by roll call vote. Keith,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
myself, aye. So voted unanimously. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.